Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Hope you're all doing well. It's Monday here. Nolan and I are kicking off with a couple segments, Dear Heretics segments. Thank you all for keeping these coming. We have a log of these and they are incredible. So please DM us with more things you want us to kick around and dig through. So Nolan, we have a question here around 360s. You ready for this one?
I'm ready.
All right. Dear Heretics, can you talk a little bit about your experience with 360 reviews, specifically as a manager trying to digest them and then give feedback to your direct report? I have tons and tons of written feedback to sift through, and it can be paralyzing. Any advice on this?
Okay, so I've had 360s done really well, and then I've had 360s done, I would describe it as like haphazard and half-assed. And so let me just talk about the characteristics of the ones that are done really well. So the first thing is there's time to do it. And the person who is doing it for me wants to do it, right? Like you have to start from that spot, because if you don't have time or if you don't want to do it, you're faking it and it's going to show up in the work. And not only is it not going to be received well, it's not going to be appreciated. And the person's going to know it's not coming from a place of like, you're actually trying to help me, which is really what the goal of this thing is. So the best one I had done, it's so simple. Like this is not boiling the ocean, but my manager came to me first and said, hey, it's been a bit since we've gotten you feedback. It's been like 6 to 9 months. I want to do a 360. Here's how I'm going to do the process. I'm going to reach out to these people and I'm going to ask them, what does Nolan do well that you want him to do more of? And what is Nolan currently doing that you want him to stop or do less of? Super simple. 2 questions, right? This isn't like a, 17-page survey, right? I think that's another failure mode. Start just doing that. And then when the person goes, they ask these people live, actually, which I find is way better than, doing some form submission, because you're able to ask follow-up questions. You're able to read body language, see if there's something beneath the surface there. And then when it's delivered to me, it's delivered thematically. So like, here's the themes of what's going well. And here's like a couple of supporting details. And then here's the themes of what your team and I, as your manager, because the manager has to agree with it, want you to either do less of or to stop. And here's the impact it's having on people or on the business. I don't think that's some like complicated thing, Kelly. And often, actually, in that situation, it was not delivered in writing. So I think a lot of times, like, we're just trying to fucking document everything. And like I was a top performer. Like, he's not trying to manage me out. And so there's no reason to codify this thing, because codification takes time. So that was what worked out well for us.
Yeah. So first of all, I love the 5 to 10 minute chats. Like, yes, we have the systems. I actually do think there's value in having the written, but where I can get it, I will always kind of meet the written with a 5 to 7 minute talk. Or I won't even I'll be like, listen, don't write anything down. Let's just talk for 5 to 7 minutes, because I can get so much nuance. It's a 2-way dialogue, so I can dig in deeper, ask a couple more questions. We all know that Slack's texts, they suck. Like, you don't get, unless you follow up, you don't really, understand fully. So I will do that. I will say, hey, 10 people, 5 people, give me 10 minutes. And they love it too. Like, so many more people have accepted doing it because they're like, fuck, I don't have to write a book. That's one of the main reasons why people decline 360 reviews, because like, oh, I already have 8. I can't do anymore. So, but the talking is wonderful. Now, I do like the writing as well, and we'll talk about how I've done this over the years, because I do think it's worked well, at least for me, if it's helpful on the digesting like a shit ton of feedback. And the first thing I do is print them all out. I literally don't work on screens with this shit ever, because I can't critically think about the feedback and digest it. So I will print it all out for each person. And then I will sit down and I will start to read each one. And I basically take a piece of paper next to the printout and I'll write down themes, right? Action-oriented, thoughtful and approachable, whatever it is. And then as I come across that theme again, I'll put like a tally mark next to the theme. And I'll make sure that everything is represented. Try to cluster them just like a feedback session, like cluster them in as least amount of buckets as possible. But I will tally the strength of how often that theme showed up in all the 360s. And then I will write that. I'll say, listen, this 360 feedback doesn't have to be long, is the result of me going meticulously through conversations or written, and it is actually weighted. It is in order of the strength of what came up. And then I will coalesce that with my feedback and my observations. And usually, unless you're in outer space or something's wildly off, like they have a lot of overlaps. So then I can come up with examples or ideas that connect to that feedback and mine. And they know it wasn't some bullshit like copy paste job because I went through and the weighting actually made people pay attention to it. And I mean WEIGH, whatever it is. Like reading, these are the strengths of where these showed up. They actually leaned into it and we talked about it a lot. It was great. So that's what I do just to kind of make it.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
Hey everyone, we'll be right back in a moment after a word from our sponsors. Your workforce is your organization's greatest strength and often its largest single expense. But without the right tools, understanding where your workforce spend is going or how it impacts your bottom line can be a challenge. That's where Planful comes in. With Planful, HR and finance teams get the clarity they need to make smarter workforce decisions, gain real-time visibility into workforce fluctuations, forecast with confidence, and adjust talent acquisition plans collaboratively based on costs today and into the future. No more guesswork, just data-driven insights to help you plan with accuracy. And the best part, Planful is fast and easy to implement, so you can be up and running in weeks, not months, with minimal IT support. Plus, as your company grows, Planful grows with you, providing endless runway for strategic workforce planning at any scale. Ready to take your workforce planning to the next level? Join over 1,500 organizations already using Planful. Visit planful.com/heretics to learn more.
I must admit, I used to believe that AI didn't actually exist in recruiting or HR. That is until my friend Heather Doche, who leads talent at Signalfire, told me to check out Metaview. I got into the product and was like, wow, AI actually does exist in recruiting, and this product is sick. Metaview is the world's #1 AI scribe built specifically for recruiting. Their AI records and transcribes hiring conversations, like intakes, interviews, and debriefs, then provides perfectly summarized notes of everything that was discussed. I've seen firsthand how tough it can be to extract consistently high-quality data from candidate conversations. I've been in debriefs where interviewers told us about their feelings instead of what actually happened in the interview. And I've seen VPs and CEOs block hires because they didn't learn anything from skeleton scorecards. Metaview changes everything. With perfect notes from every conversation, your people can focus on creating a human connection with candidates, and they can save time on the busy work of cleaning up notes after every interview. But it's so much more than just a time saver, because perfect notes means perfect data. For every candidate and every pipeline, hiring teams can make confident, informed decisions, and talent leaders can finally take control of the interview process. Metaview covers all your compliance needs, works with all your existing tools, and takes less than 3 minutes to set up. Join talent leaders at organizations like Brex, Deal, HelloFresh, and Quora, and check out Metaview. Head over to metaview.ai/heretics to talk to one of Metaview's product experts. Tell them that me and Kelly sent you. Or you could just go to their website and get started for free. You'll be up, running, and AI-enabled in minutes. The other thing too is we're operating in the era of AI. And so, say I'm back at DoorDash and I think I had, something like 8 direct reports at the time. And I also have a gigantic job that is my first priority. And it's performance review season again. And I got to summarize all this feedback first and then figure out how to deliver it. There's literally not a world to where I'm not literally starting with okay, Kelly's feedback. And then I'm dropping all of the raw data into ChatGPT and I'm saying, pull out the themes for me. I'm starting there in today's world. The other thing with AI today, Sile and I talked about this in one of our AI corners, but one of my favorite tools is called Whisperflow. So the thing for me, and this isn't for everybody, but I think it's for most people, is that we talk way faster than we type. And we think when we talk versus I don't think well when I'm typing. I think better when I'm writing. And so using a tool like this, basically what it does, it's what Siri should have been. It actually can hear my voice and do bullets and do all these things to where like I can think without having to type. And that has enabled me to get my thoughts out of my brain so much faster. Now, there's still an editing process after the fact that needs to happen to make sure I'm cleaning shit up. But like, there's nothing worse, in my opinion, when you're doing like a 360 and you're just sitting and you're staring at the blank screen and the cursor flashing at you. And it's like, fuck, like I got to go create Mona Lisa right now.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal.
It's the worst. And so like, this is why these tools exist now, right? Because other people have these problems. And so if you're not leveraging these, you're a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, I mean, the AI thing was on my list. I'll admit I've been a little reluctant because I don't think it's to the point yet where it would capture as much nuance as I would capture reading through it, because I know the 360 reviewers. I know the person. I feel like I can get to shades of gray better, at least for now. But you're right. We have to start trying it and understanding, even if we have to go back and blah, blah, blah. But I do like to write things down, Nolan, because it helps me solidify it more in my head. But that whisper flow sounds really fucking cool. I mean, that's like you can write a book without having to write it. You know, you're just talking.
Kelly, it's so incredible. Like I'm using it, like the amount of time I won't because I think it's going to be a commodity. So like, this is going to be like one of those things that in 10 years, they're going to be like, they use keyboards. But honestly, it's so good. And I think the rule for me is the moment I start feeling overwhelmed is the moment I think about AI. Like I'm training my brain to where it's, oh shit, I feel overwhelmed. It's like, okay, what AI tool exists to help me with this? I think what people miss with this is like, it's not to get to the final output.
Right.
It's to get from the 0-yard line into the red zone, right? Just like, let's move the ball down the field here, right? Like we'll drop the touchdown play in a second, but like we got to at least first move the ball and get a couple first downs. And that's where I think AI is super helpful.
The sports analogies. Sorry, folks. Sorry. Sometimes I apologize for him.
It's the best.
And I agree with that. You're saying to use AI to escape the mind fuck of the blank page with the cursor staring at you.
The cold start problem.
Yeah, just to get some movement. And I agree with that. What I've heard out there, which I think is the worst, is when you don't put any of your brain into this.
Oh my God. You should manage people. You shouldn't even be the person to, honestly, if you are that person and you're just running everything through it and you're like, here you go, the next thing you should do is you should go to your boss and say like, I shouldn't manage people anymore.
Yeah, I just literally did this without thinking. And some folks, will just fucking copy and paste the form, put it in the review verbatim and say, do you have any questions? It's like, dude, I have a lot.
It's not the majority. I think the majority of people though have this cold start problem to where it's like, okay, great. The people team signed us up to do these 360s. I didn't sign us up to do this. Now it's my job to like have to go do, and like, oh, by the way, I have a real job, Mr. or Mrs. Head of HR. Thanks for giving me more responsibility. And guys, this is the thing is like, if you can just think about it from the perspective of we are trying to help these people grow, the more growth that these people experience, the better off my life as their manager will be. And so how do I get this ball rolling? It's a momentum game. It's like, as soon as I can get the momentum and my thoughts start coming out, then it's like, I'm 25 minutes later, I'm like, oh, that wasn't that bad. Versus the blank page is the thing that everyone struggles with.
Totally. And the last thing I'll say, which is a pro tip, and I've been doing it for years, is just start the momentum and keep it at a nice even clip all year long. Like, don't let the ball stop and then restart at year end and then stop. I'm doing it all the time. I just had, my reviews at Quizlet for my folks, and it was like a non-event. It was just a continuation. And so you actually will probably be able to do less 360s if you're just not lazy throughout the year and you're honest and you're giving feedback. There's no cursor, there's no blank page.
So actually, I totally agree with you with an addendum, which is when you have feedback on somebody, I think there's two things you should do. One is deliver it right away.
Yes.
The second thing is you should write it. So I had a note for every single person on my team, like literally their own note. And what I would do is I would like immediately when something would happen, I would either deliver the feedback or I'd write it down and then deliver the feedback soon. But then when I got to the point of performance review time, I have this note because like, at DoorDash, we were living 9 lives in a day.
Yeah.
That was the joke. And so I don't have the time to like, oh my God, go back to all these conversations and think about stuff. Like I actually needed that note to remind me of all of the feedback that I had given.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, for someone who doesn't like legal, you throw an addendum. That's incredible. And I'm talking about, I mean, you guys, like literally, this isn't like a big process. Like I saw our CTO in the hallway last week and I was like, hey, you have 2 minutes. This isn't like a big thing. This is just in the normal course of your day. I do think you can streamline it in if you think about it.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, just last thing on feedback, which is, not the total topic segment we're doing here, but I've been noticing it with some of the people I've been working with recently. We want a 5-to-1 ratio of positive to constructive. Like, I think people forget that. Like, when you see something you like, that's feedback too. Let people know. And in fact, the reinforcing feedback sticks way more than the change behavior feedback. And so I think most people know this, but I think for other folks that are listening to the show, it's like, when you see something you like, tell somebody, because then they're going to do more of it.
Yeah. And you know what I learned about constructive feedback that I did not do well or even think about? And I've been doing it the past probably like 7 years. We tend to like deliver the feedback. Hey, I noticed that. Explain why. Like just the other day, this poor team at Quizlet, love you guys. You guys are great, but I'm putting them through gauntlets of like QBRs and all this crap. And they're like, what's going on? And I said, look, I know we just went through this. You got pummeled. Like you got pummeled. Here's why I did that. Here's why this is going to be fucking great for you. You're going to make it out the other side. And you just take it so much differently, So explaining like the broader context of why you even care about saying this is very powerful. And I did not do that enough early on.
Yeah. And just like that, to your point, just like you're caring about that person and you have like a bigger picture in mind for them. Right? It's so much easier to take constructive feedback when it's part of a bigger game and that like that you, Kelly, my manager, have bigger horizons for me and are helping me get to that and why I need this skill and why it's not going to be the other piece you just described there too is it's like a little pain, but every constructive piece of feedback feels like ego shattering and world ending. Right. And so when you're able to say, hey, like this is a little pain, like go have a glass of wine tonight. You'll be fine. Nobody's going to even remember this shit tomorrow. But like, this is why it's important for you.
100%.
That's the best.
Yeah, it's the best. And it's more fun to give it that way. I mean, God.
Totally. Not everything is life and death.
Ugh. Anything else?
That's it. See you, homies.
All right. Bye.
HR Heretics is a podcast from Turpentine, the network behind Econ 102, Moment of Zen, and Turpentine VC. Subscribe, 5 stars, share it on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, all the things.